Yuu Otosaka one day receives an ability to transfer his consciousness into someone else, doing this by thinking about the person. He can take over a person's body for 5 seconds, but loses all feeling in his original body, only able to possess people in his line of sight. At first, Yuu would possess people that pissed him off. Later on, Yuu decided he wanted to attend a prestigious high school, so he would memorize the answers from the smart students to get the highest score, picking the best students in their best subject, attending Hinomura High School as the first-year representative, grabbing the attention of Yumi Shiryanagi as a good-looking, intelligent honor student. In his plan to win over the Madonna of the high school, he causes a truck crash where he pushes Yumi out of the way, saving her life. Yumi falls for him from this interaction, with a young girl asking him out on the date. Yuu was called in to take an entrance exam, the same one he took a week ago and got a perfect score in. He's called in on the grounds his principal and vice principal think he's cheating. If he refuses or drops below a 90% score, he'll be expelled. The boy has to agree. He tries to take over the examiner's body, but the examiner was given an erotic magazine, and he rips it up in frustration. The first-year student, Neo Tomori, makes her introduction, having recorded him in a lie, then showing him the footage of him taking over the person's body and cheating on the exam. Yuu denies this and calls it a sleeping disease. Neo calls him out for being troublesome, showing him a couple of recent physical examinations, knowing he has no disease. Yuu, feeling cornered, runs away in frustration, trying to take Yumi with him, but leaving her behind because the girl is gonna slow him down. Jojiro is able to go at high speed, eventually subduing him. Neo tells him that he's going to transfer to their school, explaining these powers appear during adolescence and eventually they'll go away. Angered by Tomori's words, he tries to grab her. This is when Tomori uses her ability to tap into a person's cognitive recognition, but only able to do this to one person. She gives him a flurry of punches and kicks, knocking him down, telling him he'll serve on the student council to track and stop other students just like him who use their abilities for selfish needs. At home, his little sister Ayumi Otosaka greets him, noting that he looks like he's been badly injured. She received a phone call from her uncle telling them they have been transferred to the middle school and high school division of Hoshinomi Academy. Ayumi isn't bothered by moving, but rather ecstatic that they can reduce their monthly fees. And to the inner dismay of Yuu, Ayumi repeatedly makes him an omelet, using it with pizza sauce, the same way his mother used to make it. When their mother is brought up, he mentions that she selfishly got divorced and then gave custody to their uncle. Ayumi wants him to forgive her. She's also feeling like she's forgetting one other person in their family. Late at night, he scolds the girl on her star-watching hobby. Yuu and Yumi break up, with Yumi dumping him, feeling that the deal is very one-sided, and her not wanting to look like a stalker, thanking him for saving her, but ending all contact with him. While Yuu is in shock from being coldly dumped, Jojiro and Neo let themselves in, wanting to help the pair move in. At dinner, the young girl is enthralled by the idol Yusa Korobane, the girl being a vocalist for an up-and-coming band. The students that roll into the Hoshinomi Academy are students that show potential of having powers. Neo warns him that if he's caught using his powers, that the government will take him and they'll experiment on him for their neurologic scientists, where he'll be dissected like her brother. On the first day of school, Yuu gives his classmates his introduction, hoping to charm his class. It does succeed, but Jojiro and Neo are in class to keep him in check. Yuu wonders how a first-year student was able to be the student council president. Jojiro explains it's because of her sense of duty, and because the council spot has always gone to someone with powers. Neo usually eats alone with her headphones on. Yuu, not wanting to include her, leaves her, with Jojiro, who uses his powers irresponsibly to buy lunch, causing a massive explosion, injuring students with the staff being used to this. Yuu finds that Neo doesn't have female friends, a little odd. Jojiro sympathizes with her, saying she has to use her ability in a violent manner onto one person, so over time, people began to hate her. They're told to get ready in the club room, standing by a map of Japan. That moment, a man drenched, soaking wet from the hallway, comes in to give the location of the next target, saying one word, photography. This being Takahito, another student with an ability to know where special case students appear. At Naba High School, they asked around looking for signs of students with a typography ability. Yuu calls them idiots. Neo scolds him and tells him to help. They track a student who's bought pictures of a girl in her underwear. He tells them that he bought them from Udo in class 2E. Udo is the archery team's captain, saying she has a videotape of them opening up his locker with the evidence. Neo mentions his family's financial situation, but saying they wouldn't approve of this. Udo proclaiming it's the only way they can make money, with the two of them being sick, while also threatening her with a naked picture of herself. After being happy that someone found her attractive, she makes Yuu get the picture for her. Udo in frustration shoots an arrow at her, but luckily Jojiro catches it. Nao gives him the same speech she gave to Yuu, about his powers going away and him being dissective if he's found out. The next day, Yuu and Tomori spend the evening together. Tomori elated by the trip, buying tons of gluttonous food, eating it in front of people, which this being common bad manners. Her brother was about to get signed to a record label deal. While she was entering a magnet school, Tomori tells Yuu her backstory of her mother groveling for the two of them to enter a boarding school. Her brother had an ability to change the air sounds, allowing him to get noticed by a label, but he was experimented on daily, the family being separated. Eventually, he couldn't recognize her anymore, being untreatable. The next target is Yusa and Misa, which is the ability to channel and pyrokinesis, the ability to control fire and channel spirits, allowing the spirit to possess their body. Misa is Yusa's older sister, who died. Her ability was pyrokinesis. They were able to get her out of hiding from a shady promoter in the music industry. Misa joins them to keep Yusa safe, Misa being the tomboyish delinquent, and Yusa being the happy-go idol. Yu starts to enjoy his unusual friends and the job of helping people who don't know they need help, being happy to have a team and hanging out with friends, playing baseball games, going shopping, having overnight cookouts, sharing family stories, playing video games. On the top of the hill, Tomori's alone listening to her favorite band, being Zed, this being also her brother's favorite rock band. Yu and her bond on how the music makes them feel like they're in a vast open space, painting scenery the mind can't fathom. Tomori shares her dream of directing a music video and documentaries. The next target is Yu's sister, Ayumi, who gets a visit from her friends from school, one girl being her protective best friend, another boy who she's already rejected, and a girl that also likes the boy and hates Ayumi for being all that he talks about. This girl was willing to severely hurt Ayumi with a box cutter, falling deep into severe jealousy. Ayumi, being in distress, blows up the building. Yu goes to find her, but more rubble falls on top of him, putting him into a coma. When he wakes up from the hospital, the police come in to ask him some questions and to also let him know what happened. He goes through severe depression, losing the last piece of family he had. He's not able to process the idea of moving on. Understandably, he wants to be left alone, locking himself in front of the TV for days, eating only cup ramen. People come in to talk to him, but there's nothing they can say to make him feel better or to make things go back to normal. His ex-girlfriend Yumi is convinced to get him out of the house, saying she was willing to do anything, but this boiled down to her only able to offer him pancakes. The government scientists come to capture him so they can experiment on him. He deals with the men in the suits more brutally than he normally would, making one of them fall to their death. He goes from place to place, eating and watching anime, but staying to himself. His mind deteriorates over time, not caring about the pain he causes, getting into fights with delinquents, making other gangs fight each other, making them hurt each other while he's laughing. He's even about to try drugs. Tomori stops him before making this decision, with her revealing that she's been here the entire time, not interfering, not going to school, watching him lose his humanity. She makes him an overly sweet omelet, the same type Ayumi would make him, bringing him to tears. He goes back to school where he appreciates and accepts the kindness that everyone gives him. He runs into the blind vocalist from Zed, and the two of them start to form a bond, with her helping Yu come to terms with Ayumi's death. At the concert, he has a panic attack, being dissociative amnesia, where he remembers his sister, older brother, and Takahito, with all three of them being experimented on. When he wakes up, Takahito goes to the hospital to tell him everything. Tomori comes to, calling that Yu's older brother is the only person she can trust, being Chunsuke. Takahito takes them to their lair, being deep underground in a cave. Yu's memories were locked away. Shusuke tells Yu that his memories are locked away, and also that he can time skip. He can go back to previous times, but he can't pick the exact date. Shusuke leaped multiple times, explaining his plan to his friends for years. Eventually this caught up with him. His ability takes his eyesight away. By the end, he was left blind. He bought an educational institution so he could build their school. This way he could protect the children until they were adults. Explaining all the loose ends to the show, Yu's true power is plunder, and it's the most dangerous ability in the world. He wasn't told this because he would have abused his power, with it overwhelming him, which could have caused catastrophic damage. He's told to plunder Shunsuke's ability to go find him, saving Ayumi. He's able to keep his composure, telling Tomori just enough information so she knows what to do, saving Ayumi. Yu thanks her for being there when he needed her the most, in his darkest moments. Because of how dangerous Yu is, he has to stay in the research facility until his powers are all gone. One of their members betrays them because his family was being kidnapped. Takahito is mercilessly tortured. Tomori is taken next. Yu is brought last, with the plan being to get him at a later date. Yuu loses track of his emotions when he's in immense pain, making an earthquake erupt out of anger. When it's all over, Takahito's last act was shielding Tomori. When Yuu wakes up, he has a panic attack, with him strapped to his bed. He recovered, but has a more morbid look on life, with him wanting to consort with his family and friends. He's willing to do anything if it means this all can end, so he has a talk with Tomori, asking her for her opinion. She offers her idea of taking away all the abilities in the world, and then him being cured. But the moral question is, what type of monster would he become after having all those powers? He understands and he agrees, then confessing his love for her. Tomori not understanding this, but making him a promise, saying if he can do what he says he'll do, she'll wait for him. He willingly takes all his friend's powers. Tomori gives him a translation note card. At first, he's able to smoothly and effectively and calmly take out all the country's full ability users, causing enough change that the local government picks up on him, earning the nickname the One-Eyed Reaper. He eventually reaches his limit though, with loud noises triggering his panic attack. After hitting his head, he starts killing innocent civilians, with him thinking they're enemies. He starts taking sleeping pills to let his brain rest, to waking up with traumatic memories. He starts to forget what his mission even was, holding on to the handwritten notes but unable to remember who gave it to him, but knowing they're very important to him. From time to time, falling back into the narcissistic, sadistic tendencies he once had, fighting a war every day. His body is weak, tired, and raggedy, to even let handmade arrows pierce him. In the end, he's saved by the last ability user being the power of a hero's courage. When it's over, he gets to rest, but forgetting who Tomori is, but able to keep on to the flashcards she gave him, ultimately keeping his promise, with the two of them looking on to their future together. That's where we're going to be leaving off from this video. As always, if you like what you saw here, make sure to subscribe to the channel. I'll be uploading more videos just like this one, so I'll see you next time.